All right, everybody, welcome into Around the Felt. We got mock draft number 3.0 tonight. We're recording this on a Wednesday night. The draft is tomorrow night, so you're probably listening Thursday morning. We want to do one last mock draft for you guys. So Colin is going to visit his little bro, or I should say big bro in this case, Zach Tong, graduating from Michigan State. So he's out tonight.
That's big bro.
Yeah, that's big bro. And speaking of little bro, I got Garrett here with me tonight. We got Austie, who killed it the other day in his mock draft. And then we got Shake and Bake Jake. He definitely brought the shake and forgot to bake. And then obviously Dave's not here either. After further review, since he couldn't figure out how to pronounce any players' names, we decided to kick him off the podcast for good. So we will be looking for a new hype up man. The job pays pretty well. I'm not going to lie. All you got to do is come on, have a bad hairline, and say slam it every couple videos, and you got a job here Around the Felt. So, but yeah, let's get right into it. We're gonna take turns. So Jake is gonna have the first pick, Austin will have the second, Garrett will have the third, and I will have the fourth, and we'll just keep going in that order. So then he'll pick back up with Jake at 5. So let me just pull this up real quick, and we will get started.
You got 2 minutes per pick?
Nope, definitely not, because this is
not even
podcast, and it's not fair to people. So you really ideally should already have an idea. So Jake, who are you taking number 1?
Man, it's a tough decision. It's like, nah, let's be real here. First overall pick of this 2024 NFL draft is Caleb Williams.
All
He
right.
is top recent quarterback prospects since, I would say, Trevor Lawrence, to be honest. He is, Heisman Trophy winner. A lot of people thought that he was going to be a back-to-back Heisman Trophy winner. That did not happen. He had a down year this past year, but the talent is still there regardless. With trading Justin Fields, he's obviously clearly going to Chicago, and I think he's going to have a bright future there. Obviously, Chicago's a young team. He's going to struggle, but I think he's definitely going to, maybe 500, a little bit more than 500. I'm pretty first year.
I think they could be a playoff team first year. There's a chance.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Now, Jake, I know you're very locked in down in Maryland. Obviously, Caleb Williams is from Maryland originally. What's the vibe down there? Are people excited for him getting drafted and stuff?
Everyone pretty much knows that he's going to be number 1 overall pick. So
yeah, Garrett, I cut you off though. What were you saying?
No, I think he's downplaying the Bears a little bit. I think this is potentially one of the best situations we've seen that first overall quarterback go to.
I think undoubtedly, dude. What name someone that went number 1 overall that's gotten to a better situation? Normally, it's the worst team in the league. It's not a team that won 7 games and was like pushing for the playoffs week 15, 16.
Be a playoff team in year 1. I do not think that.
That's fine.
It's a
Jake.
tough division, yeah.
That's fine, but that's not what he said. So when you want to listen, join us, please. What he was saying is just this is one of the best situations that a first overall pick has been going to as a quarterback.
I didn't say that it was a bad situation. I think that he's obviously going to struggle as a rookie quarterback in some ways. I don't think it'll be nearly as bad as Bryce Young in Carolina, but I think it'll be like, 7 and 10, 8, 9. 8, 9, I think, is the ceiling for this Chicago team.
8 and 9, brother. What are you smoking?
I think 8 and 9, no more than 8 and 9 this season. Maybe it's a hot take, but I don't see Chicago getting more than 8 wins in 2024.
I'd say that shit's spicier than your hair, bro. I don't see how Chicago doesn't make the playoffs with all the moves they did. And defensively, they're after adding Montez Sweat. Oof, and they got the number 9. Okay. They got the 9th overall pick in this draft too.
Let's have a little
some capital. What do you want to wager?
I don't know. A challenge or punishment?
Yeah, loser dyes their hair pink.
No, let's do something else.
Loser has to wait. Do the Caleb Williams where you have to paint your nails.
Yeah. Loser has to rock painted. Yeah, loser has to rock painted nails for a month.
No, not a month. Come on now.
Why?
Just until it wears off.
I think a month.
Yeah, fine. Till it wears off. Fine. I'll do that with you, Jake. If the Bears win, what do you want to do there? Win total? You said 8 is their ceiling. So if the Bears win 8 or less, so what? You think 8's the most they could win?
Yeah, so let's go 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5. All right, I will take that. If the Bears win 9 or more games, then you have to paint your nails. And then if the
Yeah,
Bears
flip
win
it.
8 or less games, then I will paint my nails. And the winner can choose what color they have to paint them as well.
Okay, done
So
deal. Go.
So for you, I will get a nice red, fiery red to match your hair color, so it really pops
Yeah,
in compliments.
I don't know.
All right.
But
love
let's get
that.
back into the draft. Why people are here to listen? They're not here to listen about us painting our nails. Number 2. Are you ready to step up, Mr. Garrett? Or, I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Austin. Who are you taking?
So at my number 2, the Washington Commanders they're going to take Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner from
Ooh.
LSU.
I'm
I
sorry,
like
I'm not
it. I
familiar
like
with
it
him.
a lot better than Drake May.
Easily.
I like that a
Honestly,
lot better.
there's a lot of hype
Yeah, I'm curious to
around
hear
Jaden
your thought
Daniels going
process.
to Washington. I've heard that Washington really loves Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
So I
but
think
my question is why Jaden Daniels over Drake May? Out of curiosity, like what do you like about him over Drake May?
I just think Washington's going to take Jaden Daniels. I personally think Drake May is going to be the better quarterback. I think he's just better all around. I just think that Washington is really liking him, and they're going to pick him. And I think that might be,
Kidding me?
or he might be a draft bust.
Okay,
Who?
well, why is he going to be a
Jaden
bust?
Daniels.
You think? But okay, you can take like just because you think Washington's going to take Jaden Daniels doesn't mean
No,
you
I
have
really
to
do.
take him for
Honestly,
him.
I really do think they take Jaden Daniels.
So you
Wait,
think?
did he
but
say
so you
Daniels
like
or
Drake May
I
more
think
as a prospect, but you think Washington will take Jaden Daniels?
exactly.
Wait, who'd you say was going to be a bust?
I was kidding,
All right.
but I did say Jaden Daniels.
All right, you're a slut. All right, you're up, Garrett.
right. All right. Number 3, we have New England. First of all, I do think they might be able to trade back here if Minnesota gives them a really aggressive offer. But I'm going to have them stick and pick here. And I'm going to go with something a little more surprising. I'm going to have them take JJ McCarthy.
Whoa,
Now,
what?
hear me out. I don't think that the league is as high as on Drake May as the media is trying to make it seem. I know like he's been getting all this hype and like early on he was supposed to be like competing with Drake May like 1 and 2, but dude, I really think there's a good chance that McCarthy can go as early as 3. Um, like I might not fully agree with it, but it's in my opinion it's leaning that way, and I'm not going to be surprised if he goes here at 3. I'd love for them to get Jaden Daniels, but if he goes at 2, which I think he will, then it's probably going to come down between him and May. I personally like McCarthy more than May. I think May could be like not a Will Levis fall off where he falls into the second round, but I think he's going to slide back. And I mean, I like McCarthy a lot. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him and the league seems to be a lot higher on him than everyone thinks. He was 27-1 at Michigan. People say his arm is just as good as most of the other prospects in this draft, but he just didn't get to show it off as much. I mean, he's coming from one of the most pro style offenses in college. And I think New England wouldn't be the worst spot for him to land because Jacoby Brissett could realistically start like a full season if the Patriots really wanted to go down that road. And he's a veteran in the league who's proven that he could be a starter. So it's not the worst quarterback to sit behind for a while and learn. Because I think if they start him week 1, he'll be getting thrown into the fire because as we know, the Patriots' weapons are terrible. So if they can pick up at least a decent round 2 wide receiver, that'll help them. But I don't know. I'm not going to be shocked if he's the pick. So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah. So while you were doing that, since why not? We can make trades, right? I did a trade
Yeah.
between the Giants and the Cardinals. From all the reports I'm hearing, they like Drake May. So I have the Giants Cardinals making a deal. The Giants are like, you know what? We want him. We're gonna hop all the other teams out because you know Minnesota, the Raiders, even potentially Denver will be clamoring to try to trade up to that 4 spot to come and get him. The Cardinals are like, you know what? As much as we want Marvin Harrison, we can trade back. And we can get a lot of capital. So I actually have the Giants giving up their first rounder this year. So they're moving back, or the Cardinals move back 2 spots, and they get the Giants' second rounder this year and their first rounder next year because you have to pay a premium because they're going to be bidding against other teams. And then Arizona will also give up
Yeah.
a later
Because you know
pick.
the Vikings will be picking up the phone, and they could
Yeah.
offer their 2 first-round picks this year.
So for the Cardinals, you know what? They move back 2 picks, but they get a second rounder and a first rounder in next year. So if you guys are cool with that, I'm going to do that trade and force
Yeah,
it
that's
through.
fine. I'll allow it.
I think the Giants fans would be happy if McCarthy goes, because then they can
Yeah.
get Drake May if they like him.
I don't. Can I not put this through? I don't know. Maybe
You can't. I'm pretty sure you need the
Oh, all right.
like a
Well,
premium account.
okay. So, all right. You know what? Then we'll say no
You'll just
trades
announce
then.
it.
No,
No,
no.
you can just announce it as the Giants are taking
All
Drake
right. So
May.
the Giants are going to take Drake May right here. Because I might want
It's
to.
fine.
Yeah. All right.
If that's
fine.
what you think's gonna happen.
I
yeah.
do think the Giants will trade up. So the Giants are taking Drake May here. So whoever has Nowarski, when you get up, you're actually picking for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Jake, you're back on the clock with the Chargers. I'm curious to see what you do here because I had the Chargers the other day and went Joe Alt, and you were like flabbergasted with that pick.
I was flabbergasted because I was Tennessee and I was gonna pick Joe Walt. So
Yeah, well,
so with the 5th overall pick, I actually have the Chargers drafting Joe Walt as well.
over Marvin Harrison. Okay.
Oh wait, I thought you picked Marvin Harrison.
That's
No.
too late.
Oh, what?
Good to hear you're paying attention.
Where have you been, bro?
Too late now.
I just did it. I just did a mock trade with your current favorite team and your old favorite team.
Yeah, Drake May. I fucked that up. That's my fault.
Yeah, the Giants took Drake May, the Chargers are up, and then the Cardinals are next. So you're taking Marvin Harrison or Joe Alt?
So with the 5th overall pick, with Cardinals taking Drake May,
Cardinals did not take Drake May. It was the Giants.
Giants taking Drake May.
I'm seeing the Cardinals logo. That's what's
Yeah. But if you were paying
Oh my
attention,
god.
All right. Who are the Chargers picking?
Marvin Harrison. You gotta take Marvin Harrison if he's still on the board. I
okay,
mean,
why are they taking him?
with Johnson, I mean he has not a good rookie year last year. Receiver out of TCU. Herbert needs all the help he can get. I mean, you could go Brock Bowers, but I think Marvin Harrison with his skill set, I mean, he's a son of a legend. I think what he did at Ohio State, torching the Big Ten DBs. If he's still on the board, from Ohio State, Marvin Harrison, Harbaugh has to take him. I think that Harbaugh is going to use him vitally throughout this entire rookie year. Herbert's going to love him. And so I think you have to take Marvin Harrison. I mean, it's pretty obvious if he's still at 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously he's thought of as one of the most pro-ready prospects at the wide receiver position. He might not be the most talented wide receiver in this class. Don't get me wrong, he's extremely talented, definitely like top 5, if not top 3. But he's by far the most pro-ready, so he'll step in and be the number 1 wide receiver for the Chargers right away. Obviously, Keenan Allen gone, Mike Williams gone, Gerald Everett gone, Austin Eckler gone. So there are a ton of targets open over there. Really, it's just Joshua Palmer and Quentin Johnston who will be there 2 and 3, and he'll slide into that number 1 role. So great for fantasy if this happens. I'd be ecstatic, and I would definitely take him in Dynasty and redraft leagues. This is one of the best landing spots you can ask for. Honestly, whether he goes to the Cardinals at 4 or the Chargers at 5, it's a really good spot for him.
Like you said, with Mike Williams out, Keenan Allen out, I mean, this just opens up the door for Marvin Harrison. And hopefully, I think this Chargers offense, if Johnson gets his shit together, him and Marvin Harrison, that could be a lethal duo.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Austin, who are you taking for the Cardinals at 6?
All right. So who I'm taking for the Cardinals at 6. I'm actually going to take. Let's see.
Wow, he's really a lot of suspense here. Can you guys see the draft board on?
Neighbors.
Yeah.
No, draft board.
Oh, okay. All right, Malik Neighbors. All right, let's hear why.
Well, so since they traded back to the 6th pick. They knew that they were going to give up Marvin Harrison, but they still want that number 1 wide receiver. So they went and found Malik Neighbors, and they thought he was a better fit for their team than Marvin Harrison was, and that's why they traded back to 6.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't make that trade necessarily. I don't think the Cardinals are making that trade because they think Malik Neighbors is a better fit.
Well, it was like the best
when you get that kind of
still need a
capital.
wide receiver.
There's no,
And
yeah,
I could still see them being in on,
Yeah.
like highly in on, if they have a close grade on both of these guys. Like,
Yeah, that's what
Which it really could be.
and that's my point. My whole thing is I don't think they definitely view Harrison as better, but I'm sure they're both high on their big boards. And if you're telling me we can trade back, get a second and a future first to just move back 2 spots, like they do that in a heartbeat because they know, hey, we could just move back 2 spots and we're still getting one of these 2 receivers. So maybe they don't get Marvin Harrison here, but they get more capital for a team that has a lot of holes. So I think that's a smash pick there. I think Neighbors is a lock to go 6, whether it's the Giants or the Cardinals or another team trading back, but I don't see him falling far out of the top 5. But all right, number 7. So Garrett, who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna have the Titans taking Joe Alt here. I
Jake
think
wants
that's been very consistent throughout everyone's mock.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say they have a decent amount of needs, but taking the best O tackle in the draft is never a bad idea. And they have a whole new coach, obviously, Brian Callahan. And his father's coming in, Bill Callahan, one of the most respected O-lineman coaches in the league. I think he's gonna be like trying to run up to the podium to make this pick. And he's gonna step in next to what's his name, Peter Skronsky.
Yeah,
Peter
Peter
Skronsky.
Skronsky, yep.
And that's like protecting your quarterback's blind side with 2 former first-round picks, 2 top 10 picks. I think they're trying to put Will Levis in the best situation they can because I don't know if he's a quarterback that can fully elevate the offense without having like a lot of talent around him. So I would say just stack up on that offense. And yeah,
I mean, from
not too
everything
much
I'm
needed
hearing,
to
Joe
say.
Alt's supposed to be a smash pick at the tackle position. Obviously, he was a former tight end, but this guy's just a giant human. I know he's 6'9", so it's a great pick for the Titans. They got to build in the trenches. They got to protect Will Levis, and the only way they're going to be able to really get stuff done on offense is if they can protect him, because you're going nowhere. You can get all the weapons you want. Like they could go with Dunze here, pair him with DeAndre Hopkins, and hopefully Burks works out. But it won't matter if you
Yeah, I
can't
don't
protect
see
Levis.
that.
So, and you know what? They just invested in the running back position in Tony Pollard, so it won't matter for him either if you can't block. So I think they have to go Joe Alt there. And if he's not there, then I think you got to look at one of the other tackles. I don't think they can afford to go anywhere but one of the tackles in this draft
Yeah.
at 7. So we'll have to see tomorrow how it obviously shakes out. But at 8, I'm going with Byron Murphy.
Oh,
He's one of he's D tackle. He's one of the few interior guys and probably one of the only ones in this draft class where he's kind of that rare blend that he can actually get pressure on the quarterback and puts up big sack numbers. So I know there's only a handful of guys that you can point to. Like most teams don't have a D tackle or interior guy that can actually put pressure and put up big sack numbers. They are so rare in this, and I don't think there's an edge rusher here that you can say is like by far cut and clear, like a can't miss prospect. So I don't think there's one guy like you could say Dallas Turner or Latu Latu here, but to me, neither of them are the clear cut guy. So I'm going Byron Murphy. I think this will be nice for him, and they can pair him in the inside in the interior because that's one of the biggest needs for the Falcons is just getting a pass rush because offensively they're set and they've invested in the offense in the first round. Their past 3 picks, obviously going Kyle Pitts, Drake May, and Bijan Robinson. So it's time to invest in the defense.
With Kirk Cousins too, man.
I really like this pick.
Yeah, so
I think it's a really good one.
And people might be shocked.
It's very hard for DNs, especially rookie DNs, to get 10+ sacks. Also, I just think Byron Murphy is just a game wrecker. Like he's just gonna wreak havoc. On that Falcons defense.
Oh yeah, they need a difference maker, and they need to address the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. So I think this is a smash hit, and I think a lot of people might be surprised listening to this tomorrow. But when you're watching tomorrow night, do not be shocked when this guy goes in the top 10.
No, especially with Raheem Morris coming in as the head coach. Like he's a defensive-minded mind. He's gonna want a big boy, whether it's him, Turner, Latu.
Yeah, I think it's got to be. So we'll see what happens. All right,
exactly.
Baytoff, you get the Bears again. Who are you taking this time around?
I'm taking Rome Odunze as the 9th selection in this year's draft. This man, he's going to help out Caleb Williams tremendously. Back-to-back 1,000 yards at Washington. This man was a stud this past season with 92 catches, 1,600 yards. Made it to the national championship. Really helped out Michael Penix. I mean, right now, Bears receivers. I mean, the highlight of their receiving room right now is Keenan Allen, and he's 30 years old, I believe, and so they need to give Caleb Williams a young weapon, and with Odunze's playmaking ability, I think it's just a perfect fit. Caleb in Chicago's offense.
Yeah, and obviously Cole Kmet and DJ Moore as well. So, just gonna
They got some
have.
weapons.
Yeah, no, they definitely have weapons. I mean, I personally
Forgot about
would
DJ.
hate that pick. I mean, I get it because best available, like you go and get your blue chip guys. I do not think they should take him there. I think they should definitely go on the defensive side of the ball just because offensively you have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. You just paid Cole Kmet. You got the running backs. You got DeAndre Swift. Khalil Herbert's still under contract. So to me, I would be upset with them if they don't go defense here. I don't hate the pick because you're just going best
Yeah,
available and going and
you're
getting a
bringing him
blue
in
chip
as a
guy.
wide receiver
Who would you
one.
go
and
here
he's-
then?
I mean,
Like, what
three.
defensive
Wide
player?
receiver 3 this
I
year.
Would you
would
go cornerback? Would you
probably
go one of the edges?
I forgot
Yeah, I would-
about DJ Moore. He's on my fantasy.
I would go one of the edges. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. I would love to see them pair it with Montez Sweat. I just think you have to go defensive side of the ball here. Obviously the defense completely transformed last year, but I just think you gotta go one offense here. You get the quarterback, and then you just gotta address someone on the defensive side of the ball. Because I do
Do you see
think
them?
with their offseason moves, like going and getting DeAndre Swift, going and getting Keenan Allen, like you got him more weapons. He's coming into a great situation. Or I wouldn't hate if they went offensive line either here, but I think defense and edge is what I like here. I mean, you could go one of the corners too to pair with Jalen Johnson as well. But it might be a reach, but I'd go Mitchell if you're going to go one of the corners.
Yeah.
So
Can you see them trading that pick?
yeah, oh yeah, I'd be totally okay with that if they traded the pick. Why? If you're not in love with anyone, like there could be a team like panicking and be like, we need the quarterback, we need to go up and get him. Like the Vikings, Broncos, like even the Raiders, like those guys could be panicking and like the Broncos or Raiders are like, we need to get Bo Nix or Michael Penix. Like we're panicking now and hop the Vikings because I know it happened in our mock draft the other day. I'd be shocked if the Bears are willing to let the Vikings trade up to go get their franchise quarterback. But there could be a team panicking, and
I think
would
that
totally-
trade could come at number 10 though with the Jets.
I hope
You know-
there's a lot of teams that like. If
You
the
know they're
Jets are
not
in this
taking a
range-
quarterback.
No. So yeah, that's very true too. Yeah, because you would basically be worried about another team hopping them, but that's very true. A lot of teams might want to hop Minnesota because I'd imagine they go quarterback. But Garrett,
Let's get it.
you're up at 10, so let's see.
No,
Or I'm
Austin's
sorry,
up.
Austin, you're up at 10. So who do you got our Jets taking, buddy?
I think this is
Come
pretty
on,
easy.
Don't
It's gonna
F
be
this
Brock
up.
Bowers.
I mean,
Look it up.
They're one of
there's
their
not going to be a lot of.
tight end. To pair that with Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, and Brees Hall, like having those four as your offensive power, I think it's gonna wreak havoc next year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's. I only found this out recently because I'm not the biggest college football guy. I kind of only tune in come mock draft season and really start to look into prospects. But I didn't realize he was a true freshman when he started at Georgia, which
Yeah.
is crazy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
obviously they're bringing in top prospects every year, so this guy's a stud. He's a total unicorn. I know people like to throw that around a lot, but it is true. If you're taking a tight end this early, like he's special. So, and he's a guy you can play in the slot as well. So, it's definitely a pick that is a premium. But the Jets are in a spot where you're either going wide receiver if one of the big three fall. Brock Bowers, nice premium pick, or for me, I'd be more than okay with them taking one of the tackles, just because the fact that the Jets right now, both of their tackles are older and have dealt with injuries and like Tyron Smith's on a 1-year deal. I believe Morgan Moses is also on the last year of his deal. So
Yeah.
you also got to look towards the future as well. So, but I'm fine with Bowers or one of the tackles there.
Could
Garrett,
you
what do
see?
you think as a Jet fan also?
Yeah, I'm like, sorry. My first choice is Rome. I do think like there's a good window for them to jump Chicago with Atlanta to get Rome if they really like him. But I mean, I already know like Brock Bowers is going to be really high on the Jets draft board. It is a luxury pick, and like I love the prospect, but it does scare me a little bit. Like with Nate Hackett getting the most out of him, like the past
Aaron Rodgers
couple,
does love his tight ends, though.
I know he loves his tight ends, but it's not Rodgers. It's like the past, like there's been like 10 tight ends drafted in the first round. And the only one to get a second contract with the team that drafted them was David Njoku. I know
Yeah.
Hawkinson's a stud, but he got traded because they didn't want to like pay him a bag.
And now
And,
Evan
like,
Ingram's a stud, but
So
he's gone.
it's a little scary when you have like still you could get the second best O lineman,
Yeah.
but Brock Bowers, if we get him, I'll be his biggest fan.
And ideally, I mean, in this spot, the way our mock draft played out, and honestly, my hope for the Jets as a Jet fan is trade back. That's really what I want them to do. We don't have a second rounder. I would love for them to trade back get more capital. And I think if the board shakes out like this, there's a lot of tackles still left. This is a very deep class where we can trade back and still get someone. It's not like last year where it's like there's 4 guys and we missed out on the tackle by not trading up. Like this year, I'm more than okay with trading back,
Right.
getting picks, and then taking one of the tackles.
I mean, could you see them getting Brock Bowers and then trading back into the first round?
No, we don't have the capital to. We don't have a second rounder. And I don't think a team's gonna. I don't think it's smart for us with the way our franchise or team's built to give up.
So where would they trade
picks for
back
next year? I mean honestly in this scenario,
Someone
like,
trying to jump Minnesota. That's really
between the
about it.
Raiders, Broncos, like one of those teams, because
these
obviously
next 3 picks?
yeah, well the Minnesota wouldn't trade up, but if the Raiders or Broncos want to hop them to get Knicks or Penix, I'm fine with that. Or if one of these other teams is like, yo, we want Brock Bowers or we want one of these offensive linemen, so probably it would be a quarterback needy team, I'd imagine, or if somehow McCarthy or May's sliding to that point.
I heard the Colts could be really into Bowers, so
yeah, I mean,
slide
I'm
back.
fine with that. I'd trade back to 15 because if they come up and take Bowers and all the quarterbacks are going, you're still getting one of the top tackles. So it'll be interesting. But
All right.
Yeah, there's still enough tackles on the
I'll
board.
take it away here with the next pick.
Such a O lineman like deep class that you'll be fine.
yeah,
All right. Here we are with pick 11. We got Minnesota on the clock, and I don't think they're happy with the way the board fell, because I know they're going to try to get into the top 5. In this scenario, they don't, and I think they're definitely going quarterback. All the signs have shown that, and right now we're looking at Bo Nix and Michael Penix. And me personally, I'm going to have them take Bo Nix.
wow.
I like Bo Nix more as a prospect. He doesn't have the injury risk that Michael Penix has had coming off like 2 injuries in college. Bo Nix is like a 5-year starter, which I know he's older than most of the other prospects, but some teams value that. Like, that's a dude that's played a lot of college football, had a lot of experience, probably played in multiple different systems. You're giving Kevin O'Connell is going to be his head coach, who's proven that he can coach up quarterbacks. He's a former quarterback in the NFL. And I mean, Bo Nix had an awesome season. He easily could have won the Heisman. He had 45 touchdowns, 3 picks, 4,500 passing yards, and he set the record for like completion percentage in college football history. Like, easily could have been a Heisman winner. And if he does win that Heisman, which he didn't, like, he'd be getting a lot more draft buzz. I'm sure they'd prefer like May, or I know they really like McCarthy, but I don't think Bo Nix would be the worst option for them. They could have him sit behind Darnold for a couple weeks, and if Darnold's hot, just let him keep playing, but have Bo Nix start learning the offense, like, let him cook.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a total reach, but at the end of the day, like where they are
It
right
is a
now.
reach. Yeah, I don't love him. I don't
No, I know. It's just
know
like
if he's
you need a
worthy of the pick,
quarterback.
but
Yeah.
they've shown that they want a quarterback, and I personally like him more than Penix, so that's who I'm going to go with.
Yeah, and it's tough because it's like you can't really wait the way it is right now. Like I don't think I would be shocked if
the
Knicks
Broncos
and Penix
and Raiders could
fall.
also take quarterbacks.
I don't think either of them will go to the second round. Maybe one, but there's no way they both fall to the second. I'd be shocked if a team doesn't trade back in to try to get him. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what the Vikings do. But in this scenario, yeah, I think they got to go quarterback. So, at 12 here, I am going to go with Quinion Mitchell here, corner. The reason I'm going with him is with the Broncos, they just picked up Pat Surtain's 5th-year option. So that tells me maybe they're not willing to pay him in the offseason. I mean, I know it's the smart move. You got to pick up the 5th-year option. But maybe the way they're constructed right now, they let him walk, which would be so foolish because obviously he's a guy that's been an all-pro. But the fact that they weren't willing to pay him and give him the contract extension, I get from a financial standpoint, they don't have a lot of money right now. They're in a bad spot. But at least in the short term, you go and get debatable best corner in the draft. You pair him with Pat Surtain. You build on the defensive side of the ball. This team has so many holes right now, so you just go with one of the best players available right now and try to build towards the future. So, because I don't think they panic here and take Penix. I actually think they might roll into the year next year with the Zach Wilson show.
That'd be crazy.
I think there's a good chance.
I wouldn't hate it, but
I think they might just have to punt 2020, like the upcoming season, and just be looking towards the 2025 draft at this point.
It is tough because I don't think they have a lot of picks in this draft either. They don't have a second.
No, they don't, and
they're
that's why
not in a trade-up situation. And if they don't love Michael Penix, which there's a good chance they don't.
Would be. And Zach Wilson's younger than Michael Penix.
That's what I'm saying. It is weird that like,
So it's
some of
almost
these
like
prospects are old.
it's like you basically got a young prospect. It's like, why don't you see if you got anything with him? You didn't give up much to get him. The team's not great right now, so you basically punt next year. And if your team sucks, then 2025, you're gonna have one of the top picks to go get one of those quarterbacks. It's either do you love Michael Penix or do you like one of the prospects next year? That's basically what it comes down to. And I think they like one of the prospects next year a lot more, which I don't blame them at all. So I'm going best player available in my opinion here and addressing
Yeah.
a need for the team.
That'd
So.
be shut down if they had him and Surtain.
Yeah, and I know you walked away for a second, but they just picked up Sertan's 5th-year option. So in the off chance that I don't know, he's disgruntled because they didn't give him the contract or something weird goes down there, at least now they're covered with a.
Yeah, I'm hearing that on Twitter and stuff. I don't see them trading him.
It's just hard. It's just
I can
weird
see
to
him
me that
leaving,
they
though.
wouldn't. It's just weird they didn't pay him. You know, like we saw. Just because he's a stud, you know, like he's been an all pro. Like what more does he have to prove? But I guess the Cowboys
Right.
also picked up Micah Parsons' 5th year, so it's a lot of teams. It's just
Yeah,
like your cap
that's-
situation. You can't pay him right now. Like obviously the Lions paid Sewell and St. Brown today. St. Brown didn't have the 5th-year option. Sewell did, but they still gave him the extension.
I was gonna
But
say, even if they're worthy of paying, they're gonna take their option because it's a cheaper.
yeah,
Like
because
all
course.
first round picks are worth having. They usually get the option.
of course. So it'll be interesting. But all right, Jake, back to you with the Raiders. Who you got?
I'm gonna keep it in the secondary with Teron Arnold out of Alabama. I think, especially in the AFC West, going up against Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, you gotta address the secondary. I know they got Jack Jones and Nate Hobbs. Hobbs is in the contract year, and I think just with the quarterbacks in this division, you just gotta help out the secondary to stop these AFC West receivers. 6 foot, almost 200 pounds. I think he could definitely help out Raiders secondary. And I think, yeah, stopping these AFC West receivers is going to be a must for the Raiders secondary. So I think they address defense first. And I know that quarterback, I mean, what they got Minshew right now. I think they're in a similar boat with Denver, kind of punt this year and see what happens. And so, yeah, I just think addressing the defense, pretty much exactly what you did, Reagan, is what they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little shocked you didn't go one of the tackles there, but obviously corner's a big issue for them, and you do bring up a good point. There's like when you're in the division with the Chiefs, you need to get everything you can on the defensive side of the ball. I probably would have gone like one of the tackles. I mean, you can make a case. I don't think there's a clear-cut number 2, but I get it. Arnold's supposed to be one of the best corners in the draft, so I don't hate the pick at all. All right, so Austin, you're up next. I don't know what happened to Garrett. He's gone on my screen.
Honestly,
I'm
I
here.
think this is.
Oh.
I think this is an easy pick.
Mhm.
I think if he falls this far, I think the Saints take Fasan. How do I say his last name?
Troy
Fasano?
Fontanu.
Which one?
Yeah.
From Washington
Troy
or Oregon State?
Fontanu.
Penn State.
Oh, you're talking about
Oh,
Penn State.
tackle.
Oh,
Fashanu? Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They all do have wacky ass name. Yeah, Fashanu
Yeah,
from Penn
it's
State.
hard
Yeah,
to-
okay.
But I
Yeah.
think they take him. If he falls to them, I think they take him.
Yeah,
He's
I
a
mean,
great tackle. To pair him with Ryan Ramczyk, or however I say that guy's last name
Yep,
too.
Ryan Ramczyk. Yep.
The Wisconsin guy.
Mhm.
It's those two tackles. It's gonna be a rough year for DNs. I think they're both really good tackles, and he's very athletic.
Yeah, I mean
So,
that's a smash play, and it's a big need for the Saints. A lot of people wanted to blame Derek Carr last year, and don't get me wrong, he was terrible. But every Saints game I was watching, it was just him having to dump it off. The line could not block at all. So I think the Saints would be foolish to go any pick here. Like I like how it says quarterback and wide receiver your top needs. Quarterback, you're not going quarterback here. You're paying Derek Carr way too much. Wide receiver, yeah, you could go, but you have Chris Olave. But offensive line, you need guys. You couldn't block last year. It doesn't matter if you go wide receiver here. It's going to be the same situation. So
Exactly.
tackle's a smash play there, and
Especially when they missed their pick on. I'm forgetting his name.
Cesar Ruiz from Michigan.
No, he's good. It is the left tackle or right tackle.
Yeah. He went to Howard. He used to be a quarterback, and then he transferred to Howard, Tyus Howard, right? Or no, he went to the Texans. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm completely blanking.
I know his name because he was a big Senior Bowl guy. And he
Yeah.
had a lot of buzz,
They just took. He was a tackle. I can pull up the depth chart real quick if it loads. Oh, Penning, Trevor Penning.
Yeah, Trevor Penning.
Yeah.
He didn't really hit for them.
No, and obviously
And
they have Eric
Fashanu,
McCoy
if
and
they
stuff
want him
still.
to be their he's one of the only tackles that's a true left tackle besides Joe Alt. So if they
Yeah.
do see him,
I honestly think
And they need a left tackle. That's the thing, because
That's what I'm
Ramchek's a right
saying, 'cause-
tackle. So
I like some of the other guys better, like Fontanu and Fuaga, but they're slotted in to be either right tackle or guards, most likely in the league.
yeah, they're a little
I
bit
think
more
he's the
versatile.
clear-cut number 2 tackle in this draft.
Fair enough.
Actually, offensive lineman in general.
All right, Garrett, who you got at 3?
At 15.
Or yeah, 15. Yeah, 15.
Yeah, we have the Colts. So this could go in a lot of ways, to be honest. I don't think there's like a clear-cut guy that you could see them slotting in with. I mean, I want to go O-line, but if their O-line's fine, like, which I know they usually do have a good O-line, I just want to protect. Why am I blanking on his name?
Who? Anthony
The
Richardson?
quarterback, yeah, Anthony Richardson.
Oh wow.
Like, I know their left tackles, their O-line is pretty good. I would love to take it, but if they're saying that's not a team need for them, can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a few.
I don't
guys
know.
you can
Like,
go.
what do you?
I mean, I would probably
In
honestly
my
just.
personal opinion, I think they're
They're
going to
saying
go
DB. I know their corners are not good.
I'm
I think
probably
this is
going
too
edge
early
there. I think I'm going edge there and just
and
stacking it up.
best available.
edge.
Yeah, I think you just go
Dallas
best
I mean,
available and
I'm
you
taking
stack it up.
Dallas Turner then if
I mean, you
if
do what
we
you
think
want,
their
but
O line's good
obvious.
enough, because this could go in any way, so it's hard.
Yeah, I
Their
definitely think their
O-line
O
struggled
line's
last
good
year,
enough.
but
I think priority
I think
one
it's
for
going to
them
be a
should be
big upgrade
protect
this year. They're
Richardson.
going to be much better.
I mean, I guess you don't have. I mean, because they got Quiddy Pay, they still got the Forrest Buckner. But
Yeah, I don't
I,
see
You can
D
go
line
I
as
don't
like
think
an
you
issue.
can go
Nate
wrong
Wiggins.
with edge. I mean, obviously you can go secondary as well.
You can go Nate Wiggins, Cooper DeJean.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna make the decision to go with Nate Wiggins from Clemson corner, because their cornerback room is scary, and if there's a couple guys they're close on, I think they're gonna value team need the
Why?
highest.
Why Wiggins over
Kool-Aid.
Cooper DeJean and Kool-Aid?
Personally, I think Cooper DeJean is going to be more of like a hybrid, like nickel safety type. I don't think he's going to be a true like man-to-man corner who you can trust to like guard wide receiver ones.
Mhm.
Me personally, so I don't
will
know
say
if I value him on a team like
Colts
the Colts who need like more of a shutdown corner.
and the Colts do have one of the best nickel backs in the league in Kenny Moore, so that's also
Right.
something they don't need. That's
Yeah,
like
they
their
need more
only
of an
good
outside.
corner is set the nickel back.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think that's a good pick. So I'm up at Seattle, pick 16 here. There's a couple options we can go. We can go with one of the tackles. I know guard's more of a need for them. I think I'm gonna go with edge here just because they traded for Leonard Williams. It really didn't work out, and Seattle was just struggling to get pressure all year here. So you can either go Dallas Turner or you can go Latu Latu. I think they go Latu Latu, keep him on the West Coast. I think he's a more pure and the more polished guy. Obviously, Dallas Turner has the higher upside, but when you're at Alabama playing with a lot more studs around you and you're putting up numbers, it is impressive. But it's also a knock in the same sense because like look at the guys around you you're playing with. We're at UCLA. Obviously, it's a great football school as well, but you're not playing with all 5-star recruits. So I'm gonna go with Latu here, but I don't think you can go wrong with Dallas Turner either. But I'm going him.
And Dallas Turner is not getting picked.
I think you're a lot higher on
Right.
Dallas Turner than most
You
people.
could go
are.
right here right now.
Yeah. Well, Jake, it's your choice. So.
Well, I actually have a quick question. Can you see them going like Newton at D tackle because they do need that interior help?
They could, but I just think they need an edge rusher more. I mean, Seattle could not get pressure on the quarterback last year, and Newton's more of a run stopper. He's not that force that Murphy is that I was talking about earlier on the interior. So I think they just need to get an edge rusher.
I think they're going to value the edge more.
Yeah, because even Leonard
about-
Williams is honestly more of a run stopper too. He's not great off the edge in a pass pressure sense. I mean, he takes on a lot of double teams, but he's much better against the run. So I don't think you need Newton there as well. So I just think they have to go edge. But if they go Dallas Turner, that's perfectly fine too. I just think it's one of those two they're going there.
Can you see them trading up to try to go for Murphy?
No, I
Not
don't.
in this
I don't
case.
think. I don't think you're trading. I think the only teams that are going to be trading up are for quarterbacks or if one of the wide receivers start to fall. I I don't think this is a draft where you need to trade up for a defensive guy or one of the
No
tackles
chance.
because the tackle class is so deep. And then on the defensive side of the ball, it's just there's so many teams that are going to go offense that I think you're going to get one of the studs on defense that's just going to fall into your lap. So I don't think there's any defensive prospect that it's like I need to trade up for him to get him.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all right, Jake, who you got for the Jaguars?
Maybe a little bit of a surprise. Well, not really too much of a surprise, but I'm gonna go Kool-Aid McKinstry. Reason why I'm not going Dallas Turner. I mean they got Josh Allen. They just got Eric Armstead. I mean they got Eric Armstead on D line.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Lloyd, as well in the defense. But I think secondary with Tyson Campbell, I mean that's really their top playmaker in the secondary. I think Kool-Aid McKinstry can definitely help. 3-year starter at Alabama. I mean, I think he's more of a pure cover man than anything else. So I think he's pretty good in man-to-man coverage. So I think he can definitely help this young defense out.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the pick. I think there's a lot of options they can go there, but obviously DB is a big need for them, and that's the guy you like most at this point. I think there's a case you can make a case for any of the tackles there.
Yeah.
Dallas Turner you can make a case for as well, but you know what? Corner's a big need, and you made good points about why you'd go Kool-Aid, so fair enough. All right, Austin, who you got for the Bengals at 18?
So for the Bengals, you can make a lot of different choices for them. They can honestly go anywhere. They have a lot of needs. Their main needs are O tackle, D tackle, corner, and wide receiver. I know in our last draft, Colin had Xavier Worthy go there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to take a different route, and I think they're going to go with a tackle here.
Okay.
And I think they're going to go with Troy from Washington.
Troy Fadenanu.
I like that.
And I know Trey Hendrickson, obviously their stud edge rusher, requested a trade today, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that was
I'm sure it's
shocking.
more. I think it's more contract related, but when you're paying Joe Burrow and you're
Bro,
and you're going to be
I saw
paying
another
Jamar
thing
Chase,
on that.
it definitely is hard to pay everybody.
Yeah, I saw another thing on that where they are not trading him at all.
what's going on in Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Everybody wants out. Trey Henderson.
I also think they're gonna trade T. Higgins later in the draft as well.
T. Higgins out.
Well, they want out because they're not getting paid. It's not like it's a great situation. I don't think any of them are complaining with the situation. It's just when you know your value, it's tough. But also when your quarterback doesn't take the pay cut like Mahomes did, in the sense where he took a.
Well, at the time he signed that, it wasn't like.
Yeah, at the time, but now he's like middle of the pack in terms of annual salary. So, it'll be interesting. But that's the you know what? Once your quarterback gets out of that rookie window, that's why it's so key, and that's why the 49ers were in the Super Bowl last year. Because when you're paying Brock Purdy less than $1 million a year, it's easy to pay all your skilled guys around him. So that's why teams need to win in their rookie quarterback window. But all right, Garrett, who you got for the Rams?
I'm up on the clock with LA, and yeah, well, I'll go back. I like Troy Fontano a lot. He's my second favorite tackle in the draft. Since he's gone there, I think the Rams are also going to go O-line. Their O-line is flat out almost terrible. I mean, it is. I do really want to take them O-line, but if they wanted like some D-line help now that Donald's gone, I mean, Turner sitting there is tempting, but I'm gonna go with JC Latham here, tackle out of Alabama. I mean, he was getting a lot of hype early, and then it started to die out, but I still think he could be a true left tackle if they want him to play left or right. I mean, he was a beast at Alabama. I know, like, we've talked about how Alabama tackles don't always live up to their hype, but I think Latham's a great prospect, and he was a fucking mauler at Alabama, so maybe he can break that mold.
Yeah, no, I mean, I with how deep this tackle class is, I think in a couple of them falling this far, I think that's a big need for the Rams is the offensive line.
A lot of people like I watch around the draft, like Connor Rogers and Chris Sims were saying like they wouldn't like totally be shocked if LA goes tackle and they take JC Latham at 5. Like his earliest he can go is like top 5 if the Chargers really like him.
I definitely think so. I mean,
There's teams that value him pretty high right now.
Oh yeah, so there'd be ecstatic to get him there. All right, so the Steelers at 20. I know a lot of people would probably say wide receiver here, but I think the biggest thing with the Steelers in recent years has been their offensive line play. Obviously, they went and got two quarterbacks in Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. No matter who's playing, it does not matter if you cannot protect him. They went Broderick Jones last year. He's at the right tackle. I think they go and get their future left tackle and Amarius Mims out of Georgia here. So I'm taking him there. You got your two tackles for the future. You're building up in the trenches. And with Pittsburgh's history in drafting wide receivers, I don't think you need to take a guy in the first round. I mean, think about all the studs they've had over the years. How many of them were first round picks? None of them. George Pickens, second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio Brown was like a sixth round or fifth or sixth. Deontay Johnson, I believe, was like a third or fourth. So Plaxico Burress, Hines Ward, none of those guys were first round picks. So to me, they can wait till the second round because with how deep this class is, I think they can get a guy to pair with Pickens there. Obviously, they brought in Quez Watkins and Van Jefferson. I mean, I'm not sold on either of those guys being the 2 or 3, and obviously they have Calvin Austin, so they have some guys that can slot in for the 3, 4, and 5. But I think they get their wide receiver 2 to pair with Pickens later in the draft, and obviously having Pat Freiermuth, who I think is a top 10 tight end, helps as well. And then you have Najee and the very dynamic Jalen Warren, who I think you can also play out in the slot a little bit. So I just think tackle's a bigger need here for them than another skilled guy.
Yeah, Mims is interesting because he's only a 1-year starter at Georgia, and I think he really only played like 8 games. I don't even know if he played the full year, but in that time he played, he was an absolute mauler, and he had a great Senior Bowl, which a lot of teams value a lot. So like I think he's probably like a late first rounder, but if he's a total like boom or bust in my opinion, since he hasn't like played a lot in college, but his ceiling, it could be really high.
Yeah. And obviously you're pairing him with Broderick Jones, also played at Georgia. So you're getting the teammates
That's
back
true.
together as well.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I think there's something. Obviously that's not, at the end of the day, that's not going to be like, oh, well, we want to get two guys back together that play together. They're not saying that. But obviously,
It doesn't hurt
definitely
consistency.
does not hurt pairing two former college teammates together to lock down your future
From the
tackle
dog
position for
pound,
years.
Georgia.
Yeah. So, and it's the best way they're going to be able to ground and pound with Najee, and we saw them do that a lot towards the end of the year. So, but all right, moving on. Dolphins, Jake, who you got?
We got Talise Fuaga, or however you pronounce his name.
Yeah, no, that actually sounded really good. I'd give you
better than Dave.
Yeah.
2 tackles in a row. I mean, it just shows you how deep.
There's a run, man. It's a good tackle.
No, 4 tackles in a row.
Damn, look at that.
It's pretty obvious.
Big boys.
You gotta protect Tua, and Tua, like we said the other day, is 1 concussion away from retirement. I think you gotta stack this offensive line as possible. I know they signed Teron Armstead. You just gotta keep beefing up that offensive line. Fuaga, his pass protection's pretty good at Oregon State. I just think you gotta keep protecting Tua. Otherwise, who the hell knows where this offense is gonna be? We've seen Miami's like without Tua. I mean, Tua, seriously, this offense is dependent on him being Tyreek, being waddled ball. I mean, you just gotta protect him.
Yeah. Jake, try to talk a little bit louder too. You're a little quiet. I don't know if you're not talking close enough. But yeah, no, with obviously he's very versatile. It sounds like he's one of those guys that they're saying could also play guard as well. So it gives Miami flexibility with this pick.
Well, yeah, especially if they want to replace Hunt and put him at guard. Because they have obviously a stud left tackle, and Fuaga played right tackle in college, so it'd make more sense if they want to put him on the right. But I mean, that'd be an awesome replacement for Hunt.
Yeah, 100%. So, all right, Austin, you're on the clock at 22 with the Eagles. Who you taking?
There's still a lot of good players left. I can go Cooper DeJean here. I can go any.
You know what's crazy? Why does it say their biggest needs are wide receiver?
I can even go Dallas Turner.
I guess it just speaks to how stacked they are.
I mean, their D tackles are set. Their edge is pretty good. I don't see them taking really anybody on defense except for a cornerback.
In my opinion, I think their biggest need is a DB.
Yeah. So you got
You know what?
Cooper DeJean.
We'll go.
Kool-Aid too.
No, Kool-Aid went.
You guys just
Oh
told
yeah,
me
that's right.
pick here. I thought we were doing
Yeah,
something else.
yeah, we'll go Cooper DeJean
All right.
to the Philadelphia Eagles. They're gonna love him there. They're gonna back that. They're gonna back that guy up. Philly fans, they love their players. Have you seen over the past couple of years? But if
Why
he
Cooper
doesn't turn out good, they're gonna hit him hard.
Can you tell us
Yeah.
why Cooper DeJean?
Yeah, they'll definitely love him.
He's
yeah, like,
obviously
I
he's the
see DeJean
clear-cut
as
best cornerback
a more of a.
draft.
I wouldn't say he's the clear cut number one. Is that what you said?
No, he's the clear cut. Like out of the corners that are left in the draft, he is your next best one.
Oh yeah. No, I like more of a fit with Philly than like you asked me why I didn't take him for the Colts, but I think Philly has other corners like on the outside who can. I think he'd be an awesome like nickel corner who could play safety for Philly as well.
Yeah.
Like I could definitely see them like putting him at safety as well
Yeah,
and like
I
having him
agree
play in
with
the
that.
box a lot.
Yeah, and obviously they got Bradbury
think
and Slay still, who are older guys, so it kind of gives him a little
Yeah.
more time to develop and polish his game before he has to be thrusted into the role and can maybe develop into that number one corner. But for now, you can kind of use him as a chess piece in a secondary that was very
Right.
weak last year. So
Yeah.
they get an instant upgrade and they have some flexibility there. So, all right, Garrett, who you going for the Vikings?
Yeah, I'm back up with the Vikings. You know, my pick here is I'm going to take Dallas Turner. I'm going to get him off the board. I'm going to have him replace Daniel Hunter, who they just lost. It might not be like a huge need for them, but you're getting such a value on this pick right here.
Mhm.
And you just lost your stud pass rusher.
I mean, they
like-
did get Gernard as well, but it's never a bad
That
thing.
is true,
to-
Jonathan
But you
Grenard.
can still pair. You're going best available and
Yeah.
you're pairing them.
No, I'm
with-
taking best available here, and I mean that's a good D line right there if you pair him with Grenard as well. And you're getting him at such a good value too, so that's gonna be my pick here.
All right, so Dallas, in my mind here, they're going O-line. There's two guys I'm looking at. I'm looking at Graham Barton, but I'm also looking at Jackson Powers Johnson. And I actually think they go Jackson Powers Johnson. You can play him at the center of the guard, but I think with Zach Martin at one of the guards, if you can put him at the center or the other guard, that is going to be nice for running those inside runs and stuff. Obviously, we're not 100% sure who's going to be the starting running back, whether it's someone they get in free agency still or in the draft. I don't think it's going to be Rico Dowdle as the number one and it's certainly I know they signed Royce Freeman. It's not going to be him, and I'm blanking out who's the little guy they got, who's obviously a lot more athletic than any of us. He's like Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn.
It's not going to be him either. So
No.
I think
I think they're
Dallas
gonna
has
pick-
to retool the trenches here. I'm fine with Graham Barton, but I do think Powers Johnson. I know the center position's one of those ones that's been kind of underrated in the draft over the past couple of years. We haven't seen a lot of guys go into the first, and the ones that have gone late first. So I just think with his versatility, he will go here to Dallas. So I'm curious, would you guys have gone a different route here, or what do you kind of see here?
No,
mean,
I like a line for them.
Dallas in the past has picked offensive linemen in the first round. Travis Frederick, Zach Moore, so it's panned out. So why
Tyron
not
Smith.
I mean, honestly, I think Mims is going to fall to them at 24.
Oh, so you don't think you would go to Pittsburgh? You think he'll fall to them?
Yeah, I think he's going to fall in the draft a little bit, and Dallas is going to scoop him up. But I think Dallas is a lock to go offensive lineman here at 24.
Yeah, I
no matter
agree with
what
you on
they're
that.
going lineman.
I mean
Fair
the
enough.
past couple like highly graded like first round, early second round centers have all hit.
Yeah,
Like so I do think there's value in taking a center early if he's really as good as like people think.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jake. Who are you going for the Packers at 25?
Going Jerzon Newton, defensive line, Illinois. I think he's only 6'2", 304. I think that with Green Bay's interior defensive line, all they got is Kenny Clark, and Devontae Wyatt. I think that they can definitely need an upgrade in this defensive line. So I think Jerzon Newton definitely disrupt the run game and get to the quarterback. So that's why I think they should pick him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that at all. I definitely think they take a look at Graham Barton here because tackle's a big need for them. O-line in general. But if you're not going Barton, I think you can go D-line there. you're not going safety because I know that's to pair with McKinney. But yeah, I don't hate that. I think I would have gone Barton because obviously Bakhtiari's gone and the Packers offensive line's one of their biggest needs. But I don't fault you for that pick at all. All right, Austin, you're up with the Bucks.
I think I'm just gonna go. They need help at the edge, so I think I'm just gonna go with Jared Verse from Florida State. Honestly, I think that would be their best choice in the losses of Shaq Barrett and like Devin White. They need kind of help on that defense, and I think he's going to fit right in there. As I said before, rookie edge rushers have a tough time adapting first year. Um, he's probably not going to get 10 plus sacks, but he'll still make that impact that they need.
Yeah, I mean Jared Verse, from everything I've heard, he's supposed to be one of the best edge rushers in this draft class right now. So the Bucks need to retool there. Obviously, why am I blanking out on his name? He was good for a while. Shaq Barrett's gone now, so they
Yeah, I
definitely
just
need
mentioned that.
to build on the defensive side of the ball. And this is a team. While they were a playoff team, there's a lot of holes to fill here. So it'll be interesting. But all right, Garrett, who do you got for the Cardinals, or do they trade this pick? What do you got going on here? He froze on my screen.
Yeah, he froze.
Garrett?
No.
That sucks. That
Well, I could
sucks.
put my opinion in.
Jesus Christ.
That's look at his face. Look at that dumbass.
All right, what do we think is going to happen at 27? You think they're going to trade out and maybe the Raiders trade in?
For Garrett.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now
Yeah,
we
you're
can.
good.
Who do you got for the? You froze.
Did you hear anything of what I said?
Nope.
Probably not. All right, I was saying that the only way I could see them making the trade is if someone wants to jump Buffalo for Brian Thomas. I don't know if you heard that.
Nope, I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
So-
that would be. And I wanted to see, like, if you could scroll down, I want to see which edge rushers are on the board still. I mean, it's tough. I really wanted Jackson Powers Johnson to fall to them, but in this situation, he's not. I think, man, I think they go D line here. If this is the situation we're in.
I
What's
think
up?
they trade out with the Raiders, and I think the Raiders go Penix here.
Ooh, that would be interesting. You think they
What's-
trade again?
Click on the trade button. Go to Raiders. Let's see what kind of picks the Raiders have. Because I agree.
that.
I do think if
Because I
there's
think
not a
the
solid
Raiders
edge
trade
rusher-
back in and they get their guy Penix.
Yeah, I'm down to do that.
All right, so what do we think the Raiders give up? Maybe 44.
Definitely their second.
44. Maybe they're
A fourth.
a fourth, and then a future.
Is
sixth.
44? That's like a middle of the pack second rounder.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see
Maybe
that.
it would take a future pick as well, but
I think a future. I think like a future like
do a future
Fourth
four as
pick?
well.
I would say
Yeah.
fourth.
I don't think I can force it.
You can't force it, but we could do that.
Okay, so the Raiders in this situation are drafting Michael Penix.
Yeah, I
Okay.
like that a lot.
All right. So I'm up with the Bills here. They're definitely going wide receiver at this point, the way the board's shaking out. Or I shouldn't say definitely, but
And they get that fifth-year option on him, which is great for a rookie quarterback.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to go Mitchell.
We've seen that happen a bunch.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously this guy is he's very fast. What did he run at the combine again? He ran like a
That was-
4.
That was worthy,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Worthy.
but
Oh.
I think Mitchell. He's
No, I
better
think
than
they
worthy.
go Brian Thompson Jr. or Mitchell there. I don't see them going Worthy.
I don't know.
I don't think.
Brian Thompson Jr.
I guess
dude,
with where they're at too, because they kind of have the gadget wide receivers. They don't really have the big body guy right now. I think they'll
Yeah.
go Brian Thomas. They need a bigger
Yeah.
guy. He's 6'4". I mean, are you really relying on Mac Hollins as your big wide receiver? Also, obviously you have Kincaid and Knox, so I think they'll do a lot of sets with them. But I'll go Brian Thomas here.
If you're looking for
Curtis
speed, he
Samuel,
ran a crazy 42.
Shakir, they're sneaky guys, but Brian Thomas a little bit overshadowed when playing with Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels. You know, those two guys were highlight reels in their own right. So I think he'd be getting a lot more buzz if maybe he was on a different team right now where he was the main guy. But I think it's a smash pick for Buffalo. And they get Josh Allen, a much needed Stephon Diggs replacement. And this guy's a lot bigger. He honestly is more like Gabe Davis in the sense where he's a bigger body guy. So hopefully they can use him in the blocking game and he can kind of fit into that number one role, but also be used as a lot in the screen game as a blocker and stuff. So, all right, Jake, you're back on the clock with your last pick of the night for Detroit. Who you got?
I would say Tyler Newman, safety out of Minnesota. Reason why
Oh,
I say
wow. You think a
Um,
safety goes in the first round this year? Okay.
I would say, I mean, Lions literally have 3 safeties on their roster right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think safety, they're very thin. Howard Newman's the best safety on the board. He's a playmaking safety. He's shown that in Minnesota. He's like 6'1", 200. I mean, with the loss of what's his face?
Oh, yeah, he went back to Philly. Gardner Johnson.
Gardner Johnson. I mean, this secondary is kind of thin.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this Lions team is going to be very solid this year overall. I think they'll be fine defensively. Definitely back to the playoffs, but I think safety, they're pretty thin, so I think they should take best available safety at 29.
Yeah, and clearly the Lions, after last year's draft, they have proven they do not care what the experts say, what they don't care about what anyone says. They're gonna go and get what they need. They don't care if they're overpaying, underpaying, whatever. They're gonna get their guy. So I wouldn't be shocked by this at all. He is the consensus best safety in this draft. Maybe it's a slight reach, but clearly last year they made us all eat crow after Gibbs, Campbell, Branch, and Laporta, guys they took all super early with high draft capital picks that you could say, none of them are premium positions. Obviously, or because they went running back, they went tight end, they went safety, and they went middle linebacker. I think those are 4 positions that you point to that are the farthest thing from being an essential position. Those are the premium guys. I mean, in a sense, kind of rambling right now, but I would not be shocked if they go and get what they need. So good pick, Jake. All right, Austin, you're on the clock with the Ravens. Who do you got them taking?
So with the Ravens, I think they need help at interior linebacker. I really think they need a linebacker. They could go wide receiver here in Adonai Mitchell, or they can go Xavier Worthy to get another speedy guy. I mean, looking at inside linebackers,
You think they go linebacker here? Interesting.
I mean, you lost one of the best linebackers
Patrick
in
Queen,
the league
yeah, you lost Patrick Queen. Yep.
to a division rival,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I mean, they do have Roquan Smith. You know what? I think we're gonna take a wide receiver here, and we're gonna take Mitchell here.
All right, fair enough.
From Texas.
Obviously, they just
I think they're
extended
gonna
Rashad
add another
Bateman
wide receiver. He ran a 4. They did, and
but that
do they
doesn't
still have
matter to
Odell
me.
Beckham?
No, he's done.
He's a free agent.
And even with them extended Rashad Bateman, that's like he's a wide receiver 3 at best. It doesn't. I don't think that's stopping them from taking another wide receiver to pair with Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
Exactly. 2 young studs. He ran a 4.34 40-yard dash. He's how tall is this guy? I want to see how tall this guy is. He's 6'4", 196 pounds. He's a big body wide receiver. He can really help stretch that field too.
Yeah, man, you see what he did.
I think he's with the wide receivers left on the board. I think he's a clear cut.
Jake Cook. I want to hear Jake's input on him.
See what he did.
Go ahead.
You see what he did against Alabama national championship 2 years ago. Filthy. When him and Pickens were there. See what he did against TCU. See what he just did when he was at Texas against Washington. He's making these DBs look sorry, man. I think this is the kind of guy that the Ravens need, bro. I mean, a guy 6'4", lanky. The Ravens hadn't had this
Lanky
for a long time. So I think that he can definitely help this offense. I mean, Lamar needs receivers, man. He hasn't really had a top receiver. I mean, he hasn't really had a top 3 receiver, top 5 receiver in the league since he's been in the NFL.
Yeah, so hopefully Zay Flowers can become that guy, but obviously, pairing him with Mitchell would be nice. Yeah. So Garrett,
he's awesome.
Who you taking at 31 for the Niners in your last
Yeah,
pick
the
of the
Niners. Niners obviously one of the most stacked rosters in the NFL. They can go in a lot of different ways. Whoever they really love the most. I'm I'm gonna have them take a wide receiver though, and I'm gonna have them take Troy Franklin out of Oregon.
Wow.
You
Okay.
passed him. Yeah, I like Troy Franklin a lot, and some of my reasoning is there's a good chance that IU could get traded even on draft night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's in their long term plan as of right now because he seems pretty frustrated, and they already gave Debo the bag, so I don't know if they're going to give him the bag as well. And if they do trade him, there you go. There's a replacement right there, Troy Franklin. He started all 3 years in college. I mean, last year's stats were freaking awesome. He was Bo Nix's wide receiver one, 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns. I mean, that's insane. 14 touchdowns is awesome. He's 6'3", which is also like great size for a wide receiver. I think he's such a sleeper in this draft class, and you put him on Kyle Shanahan's offense, he's gonna cook.
Yeah, and he honestly he's been overshadowed like crazy. You really haven't heard a ton of talks about him. There's
No, he's
obviously
not,
this is a
but
stacked wide receiver, but you're not hearing a ton of talk about him like you are a lot of the other guys.
I think he's gonna be really good. Like it'd be awesome for him to land on like the Chiefs, Ravens, one of these like later teams, even Buffalo could be into him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, was that all you had?
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have.
Austin, Jake, any way you guys would have went there, or you like that?
I mean, that's a really good point about the Ayuk deal. We really don't know what's going to happen with him, if they're going to trade him or not. So I think replace him. It's interesting. You could have gone. I mean, Lad McConkey, he's going to be slept on. Xavier Worthy, I mean, besides his speed, he's really slept on.
Yeah, just don't see either of those two as a first rounder in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think if anything, it would be Xavier Worthy just because of the speed.
Yeah,
I like Troy Franklin. Him and Bo Nix, that was a really nice matchup there, and I think he can definitely help out Brock Purdy.
Yeah, so this pick for me is very interesting here because
You could have gone.
obviously I'm not going. I'm going to tell you right away. I'm not going wide receiver here. I think the Chiefs.
Really?
Yeah, no.
yeah,
I
they
think
want
the
to
Chiefs.
tackle.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
You're
say.
not
They
gonna
need a
you're not gonna
tackle.
give Patrick
No,
Mahomes another weapon
because
like
no,
Dude,
they don't. Because he doesn't need another weapon. Like he clearly got it done. The only time we've ever seen him not be able to get it done was at Super Bowl against the Bucks when his line was in shambles and he just couldn't get the ball out. He has times he will make plays. He still has Kelsey. They just got Hollywood. Even if Rice is to miss time, which I think at this point it probably won't be this year, it'll be next year, similar to the Alvin Kamara situation where the suspension took so long that he didn't get suspended till the following year. So I know a lot of people are seeing Graham Barton there, but from everything I've heard, he played a lot of center this year. He seems like he's going to be more of an interior lineman, even though he's listed a tackle here. So I think I'm gonna go with Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. From what I've heard, he's one of the better guys. He's a left tackle, which obviously you can go right or left here, but freaking Jawan Taylor was terrible last year at the right tackle, and obviously at left tackle, it's also a big need because they were putting different guys in throughout it, in and out. So, and I know he can also move to guard as well, but he's a little bit bigger, and he seems like out of the two between him and Graham Barton, he has a better chance to be a tackle long term. So it'll be interesting. I know the Chiefs are definitely hoping that one of the other tackles falls to them at this point, and I also wouldn't be that shocked if they're a team that maybe trades up a couple picks to go get the guy they want. But I definitely think they go O-line. I think if anyone actually thinks they go a wide receiver here, they're foolish and they're really buying into the hype because Patrick Mahomes is that guy, and it does not matter who he has. As long as he has time, he can make anyone a weapon.
I'm with you on that. They don't need a first round pick wide receiver
And
for
how
him. Like
and
it's
how
a
many
deep
years?
class
It seems
too.
like every freaking year these NFL guys are like Chiefs wide receiver, Chiefs wide receiver.
Right.
They
They
went
can still
from
get one
they
later in the draft who could
yeah.
be a stud.
Rasheed Rice was a stud last year. He was a second round
Exactly.
pick. So I think they
Exactly.
can totally wait. Tackle's a huge need for them. Juwan Taylor was terrible last year, and the only time he was good was when he was doing false starts that they were not calling.
Most frustrating offensive lineman to watch in the NFL. He false starts every single play, every single one. And the NFL they just live and breathe the offense. It's so frustrating to watch him. It's interesting how I think if Graham Barnes on the board at 32, the Chiefs are gonna pick him
You think?
over Morgan.
I just think it's because Graham Barton, from everything I've heard, he's going to end up being a center/guard, and the Chiefs are set at center and guard, obviously, because you got Trey Smith, you got Tooney, and then at the center, obviously, you have Creed Humphrey. So I think they want a more traditional tackle. I mean, obviously, it helps with the versatility, but I think the fact that Barton played a lot of his time at center as well at Duke, he'll go to a team that's more in need of a center. So I also think he could be drafted in the first round as well, Barton, just because of his versatility. But I think the Chiefs go for more of a traditional tackle option.
I do have like, do you have any scenarios where the Chiefs trade out of the first round, and go back to the second round, and try to pick up one of those guys? Like maybe they trade back with one of the earlier teams, and then they get a tackle in the second round.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, at that point, it's very possible. I think they could also
Just
go
like-
Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma as well. I mean, maybe I should have
Yeah,
taken
he's
Guyton
the-
because
yeah,
he's
Guyton.
massive and he's more of a true tackle. I mean, he's 6'8", 330, so he's a bit bigger. So, but I definitely think I'd be shocked if they don't go tackle. I just think it's such a glaring hole because they're so set on the interior.
But as we said, I mean, this draft class is stacked with offensive linemen, so they
But
can
so is
afford
wide
to
receiver.
trade out. Yeah,
I don't
Also,
get. I don't want to get them to get cute. Though. Why would they get cute if there's like? It's not like there's that many left with like true first round grades. I don't think they're going to get too cute with it. I think they're going to try to protect the best quarterback
we
in the
just
league.
haven't really seen. Yeah, like it just seems like every year they're like they could use another wide receiver and they just don't do it. So I'm just kind of going off the history too. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, when you have
but
the greatest tight end of all time,
well, that's
and
true too. I
maybe
mean,
one of the best quarterbacks of all time, like a top 3 quarterback of all time,
Is he the greatest tight end?
no,
Travis Kelce.
no,
So,
Gronk.
I wouldn't
Come
say
on
it so
now.
loosely. Like he could be.
Gronk.
But
I mean,
I don't know if
he's
it's.
one of the greatest.
You
tight
said
ends of all time.
Rob Gronkowski.
You can
Yeah.
obviously you can make a case between all 3 of them at 1, 2, and 3. So it's.
Who?
But I mean, when
Actually-
you have both
What are the
players
3?
on that team, it's
Brock
still
Bowers is on pace to be the best of all time.
Bro, he's never even.
If he's on the Jets, yeah. I heard Cole Kmet's on pace.
No, he's a
I
J-
knew a
if he's
guy
a
that was
Jet.
high on Cole Kmet.
Yeah, damn
was-
right, my uncle Komet. You kidding me?
Let's get shitty.
I think
Which
if we're talking tight ends, it'd be 3, Kellen Winslow, and then Kelsey, and then Gronk. Gronk is 4
I don't know
rings.
about that.
Yo,
Huh?
fuck you, Antonio
Kellen
Gates and Tony
Winslow?
Gonzalez.
I was gonna say Tony
I
G.
do have a
Shannon Sharp is probably better than Kellen Winslow too.
Baytop said, "Hey, I'm gonna name a guy that's fringe top 10 and throw him in my top 3."
Yeah, man, I named a guy from like the 80s.
No, I mean Kellen Winslow's good. Don't get me wrong. I mean his son sucked on the
Gates
Jets.
is better, and he's on the same fucking franchise.
I mean, but yeah, I think guys, that was a great pod. I appreciate you boys joining us
Yeah, it
tonight.
was, man. I liked it. I thought it was pretty solid.
It'll be interesting.
I like the
can't wait
way
to
our
look
shit
back.
turned
I
out.
have one last quick question.
I'll post this on social media for those of you listen the draft board, so you guys can take a look, and I'll
Boy,
have to.
Just keep shooting the shit, talk football.
We gotta come back to this after the draft and see how.
I do have a quick question though. Like out of all the guys that we drafted, is there any one of them like who do you think like
Gosh, I want to slap you in the face.
most likely to fall out of the first round and go into the second?
Can you go back to the board, Reagan? That we took?
Yeah. 1 second. Yeah,
I mean, there's a
that's a
couple.
good question.
Obviously,
First
I
round?
think
I mean, I think I can see Kool-Aid like falling a little bit more. I can see him not going that.
Yeah, I would say
early.
our biggest surprise is Dallas Turner falling as far as he did, but I would not be shocked if
Yeah.
he falls that
guys
far.
that could fall out. I mean, Tyler Newbin, Troy Franklin, Mitchell.
I still think there's a very good chance one of the quarterbacks between Bo Nix and Michael Penix doesn't go in the first round.
I don't think
Yeah.
Jackson Powers Johnson, obviously, just because he's a center. We've seen centers fall out of the first round grades go in the second round just because the position, it's a little bit easier to find than the tackle.
What do you think's the biggest hot take? You think JJ at 3?
I would say
is the
yeah,
biggest hot
JJ
take?
at 3 is like boiling hot, but the closer
I
we
don't
get,
think it's boiling hot. Though.
I know, but
guess.
I
I
mean, the
really
closer
don't
we
think Drake May is all that.
the closer we get, it seems more not as hot because obviously JJ McCarthy had like a 3rd round grade a couple months ago, and now he's getting pumped up to top 5, if not top 3. So
I could say Rome at 9. I completely forgot about my fantasy. Komet and DJ Moore over there.
yeah, I know you did because you were like, yeah, they got Keenan Allen. You just didn't mention the other
Got
2,
it.
but I don't hate it. I mean, they still easily could go wide receiver.
I want Rome on the Jets. So
So who
bad.
else would they pick there at 9 then, Jacob? If
Defense.
you
Yeah,
Who
probably
could've
defense.
done it?
Maybe a tackle.
Maybe Dallas
Turner?
Turner.
They
Yeah.
could trade back. I don't
Or
know.
Latu, obviously.
Yeah, they could trade back. They
I
could
don't think they
trade.
need a.
Bo
I know,
Nix
like
at 11's crazy to me too.
Yeah, I mean, they also could trade back with the Vikings, Broncos, or Raiders.
yeah.
Or
I don't love
Raiders
this
if
spot.
they
I just like
wanted
the
to trade back.
player. So
I'm gonna be honest with you guys
I
too.
also
Like,
don't think JJ McCarthy's going that early.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like, I'm not gonna be shocked if Nix and Penix both don't go in the first round.
I agree.
Like,
with
after
you. I wouldn't be
last year
shocked
with
either.
Levis falling, I just feel like a lot of these draft experts really just try to pump up these quarterbacks, and then the NFL teams are just smart and they're like,
Nah.
no, we don't have like this guy is not a first rounder. We're not gonna reach on him. We're gonna go and get a guy that is there and should be there, and go best player available. So I
no,
don't
you're right.
necessarily
Now
know
I
if
look at
teams
it,
are gonna panic as much.
if it does plan out this way, I could see the Vikings just taking Quinyon Mitchell and then trying to wait with their
Yeah,
next pick
because I
getting the
mean,
quarterback.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I just feel like taking if one of those teams takes Knicks or Penix, you're going to be reaching and passing on a blue chip player because this is a pretty deep class, especially early on. There's a lot of good guys you can get in that mid round right there, mid first round.
No,
So
you're not wrong.
I also think taking any like Bo Nix or Michael Penix, like especially Bo Nix at 11, and like they have to fall. I think they should fall to the second round. There's no reason they should go into the first round. Maybe like
yeah,
the end.
well, yeah,
The
but
Vikings trade back in.
also
But
just
like,
looking at this, I'm going to say it. I don't think there's a chance in hell that we only see one tackle in the first 13 picks.
yeah, agreed.
I'd be shocked if I mean it worked out that way. I would be shocked if we're watching tomorrow and it's only Joe Alt and then we don't see another tackle till 14. I would be shocked.
I think the scenario where we get more early is Chargers take one, Titans take one, and then Jets take one.
Yeah.
I mean, if this
yeah.
scenario happens where
Bears could too.
Marvin
So could
Harrison
Vikings.
No, Bears. Yeah, Bears.
Wouldn't want Brock Bowers for the Jets if he's available.
Dude, I
mean,
love Bowers,
I
but
honestly, we didn't even say it, but like, I mean, the Giants could still take a tackle at 6 too. I mean, we're saying the Chargers could take Joe Alt to pair with Rashawn Slater. Why can't the Giants could easily take Joe Alt to pair with Andrew Thomas as well?
I
get
don't
rid of
think the
that-
Giants
get rid
should
of that-
take a quarterback. I know we
Evan
had
Neal.
him taking Drake May.
Yeah, that was more
I
so
don't
just
think it's
like the
best
way
idea.
it played out in that scenario.
No,
Where it's like they've been
I mean,
linked
Colin
to Drake
just put a
May.
video of him trading up to get him.
Yeah, so that was more of a just like the way it shaked out type of thing. Like, I don't think they
'cause
will
I
go
threw
a
you guys for a
quarterback at
loophole with
6.
JJ.
I don't think you should. It's worth trading up for a quarterback, whether it's JJ or Drake May. I don't think for the Giants.
Yeah,
I
probably
would agree
not.
with that.
Probably
I
not.
also
But
don't-
for this scenario,
Especially
I
if you're
just thought
giving
it
up
worked.
next year's first.
I don't see the Cardinals trading their
that.
pick at all.
If you're getting offered a first round pick next year and you only have to move back 2
Yeah,
spots,
definitely. You're
Yeah,
still
you're
getting
taking
and that's
I'm
the
taking
thing.
that deal if I'm a GM.
You might say the Giants gave up a lot there, and maybe they did, but at the end of the day, if that's the scenario, you're not the only team trying to trade up. The Cardinals are leveraging you against other teams. That's why
That
they're
is
able
true.
to get that much, because people might be like, the Giants would never give up that much. Yeah, maybe you're right. They wouldn't. But they're not going to be the only team trying to trade up to 4 to get Drake May if he falls.
That is
That's
true.
That is going to be actually crazy. I think there's going to be a hell of trades. I think it's going to be pretty nuts. I think there's going to be a lot of unexpected
Yeah,
that are going to be made.
For sure.
a lot of trades. Last
Of
year there
all
was
the-
8 trades in the first round.
Now it's Turner going to Tennessee. It's going to be
Yeah,
unexpected.
I saw Vegas at the line at 6.5. I was looking at all the funky draft props, and I saw 6.5 was the line on trades, and I would definitely take the over. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bet it because I just love trades, so I want to see them, but definitely an overplay there.
Does a
6.5.
player trade count if like, what's his face? Yeah, it would because it would be for a pick. Like if
Yeah,
you
otherwise
got traded to like Pittsburgh or whatever.
yeah, for sure. But all right, guys. I think that wraps up this episode. Thanks for joining us, Austin, Jake, and Garrett. It was a very productive pod. I'm excited to watch tomorrow night, and we can look back at this one and the one we did the other day to see kind of where we went right with our picks and where we went wrong. Because I think for sure some of us might be like, "Damn, you freaking called that," and other ones will be like, "You dumbass! Like you took
No, come back to
freaking
this
Dallas
when Jake
Turner
gets
at
taken over May.
7 to the Titans, and he went
Come
23 to the Vikings." So it is funny how within 2 mock pods we had Dallas Turner at 7 and 1, and then Dallas Turner at 23 and another. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. But that wraps up this episode.
It's
If
shitty.
you guys are still listening, obviously Golf Scramble, July 20th. It's not too late to sign up, so keep signing up for that. We'll post this graphic on the Instagram so you can check it out. And next week we will do a recap pod to go over all the teams' drafts, and we'll get into some fantasy implications too for you dynasty players that are going to have your rookie drafts coming up a couple weeks
Totally.
later on. So, all right, fellas, have a nice night. Thanks for joining us.
Peace.